Yeah, and so basically that's why I'm not allowed in Chuck E. Cheese's ever again. Yeah.
What did you do to those
It's
poor kids, Will?
I just that's what I just explained it. Oh shit! Wait a minute, we're filming. Never mind. I'll tell you again later. What's up, folks?
Not allowed by freaking
Chuck
playgrounds
E.
either.
Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese's. No, just,
Playgrounds too.
it's just Chuck. Listen, it's a long story. Hey, here we are.
What are we doing here, Captain Bill?
We are doing the green bracket in our Headlocks and Halos Championship tournament, or as I like to also refer to it as the R.I.P. Invitational.
There you go.
So,
R.I.P. Invitational.
yeah, to determine the Headlocks and Halos
Without
champion.
further ado, the green bracket.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
dive
So
right into this.
let's before we started, in case you haven't seen the other video where we picked these, we have taken the names of 64 of the dearly departed from the pro wrestling world,
Rest in peace.
and entered them into a tournament where we drew randomly the matchups, and we have 4 brackets: the green bracket, the blue bracket, the red bracket, and the teal bracket. Tonight we are going to go through the green bracket and determine a champion for said bracket, which we'll do for the other brackets, and then we'll have the big championship match. Now that we're caught up, you should go when you're done. Also watch the selection episode. But anyways, we're going to jump into the green bracket. Now, how this will be is we have the matchups. We're going to tell you what the matchups are. We'll discuss the matchup a little bit, and we'll each give our opinion as to who we think would win said match. Obviously, there's 3 of us, so there will be a majority. That person will move on, so on and so forth. Now, the green bracket matchups consist of Doink the Clown versus Chris Candido, Roddy Piper versus Dr. Death Steve Williams, David Von Erick versus Kamala, the Ugandan giant. Yep. One Brody Lee, Luke Harper, John Huber, versus Bruiser Brody. That one.
Woo!
That one was
The predicted
that
matchup.
one. Yeah, that one.
Of the whole fun.
That one's the most intriguing to me. One Terry Bam Bam Gordy from the Fabulous Freebirds is taking on Ivan Koloff. Some of you may remember him, the Russians, his nephew Nikita Koloff. They had lots of big matches against the Road Warriors. Nikita feuded with Magnum TA a lot back in the day. Yokozuna versus La Parka 2.
The chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board, absolutely. One Bad News Brown taking on Blackjack Mulligan, who, little trivia in case you don't know, Blackjack Mulligan is the father of Barry and Kendall Windham. Barry Windham of Four Horsemen fame, and the grandfather to one Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
And the father-in-law, his son-in-law, is Mike Rotundo, Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas' dad. So a lot of wrestling in that family. And then finally, the final match in the green bracket is one Gorilla Monsoon versus the Ultimate Warrior.
That'd be pretty interesting.
So that's the green bracket. So what I say, let's go right in and start talking about the first matchup, which is one Doink the Clown versus Chris Candido. Now, share with you, I got some stats on these, career stats on these guys. I'm going to share with you real quick. Doink the Clown, Matt Bourne was the name. This is the one. There's been many.
I was going to say, there's
been
many
variations.
Many doinks.
Many different variations.
Even brawler played him.
Yeah, people who have played him, but this particular one was Matt Bourne.
Yeah, that was more of a
Matt Bourne, his career, he wrestled from 1978 to 2013 is when he passed.
Really?
Yeah. He had 1,718 total matches, 857 wins, which gave him a 49.9 career win percentage. He had
Really?
668 losses for a 38.9% career loss. And he had 193 draws. So almost half of his 49.9. I mean, damn near half
Right
of
down the
his
center.
matches he won. Chris Candido, his career ran from 1991 to 2005, where he amassed a total of 997 matches with 422 wins, which equates to a 42.3% win percentage. 529 losses for 53.1% loss percentage and 46 draws. So that's I mean, both of them have in their careers won multiple titles.
Yeah.
Even Doink, believe it or not, even before he became Doink, he had a lot of title runs in other promotions as well as Candido did. I was rather surprised to see what his full resume was.
Now, with Doink the Clown and Candido, Candido, if I'm not mistaken, he was also in ECW, WCW.
Yeah.
Was it Smoky Mountain Wrestling? I think for a little while. Then he went and WWF, of course.
Yeah, I think.
He was a former tag team in there.
Yeah, I believe he was in WCW too. Yeah.
Oh, he
But
was.
I know he was. I know he really made a name for himself in ECW.
Yeah.
He
And he brought in the lovely Sunny. So, but
Yeah,
anywho,
so. Kyle, are you familiar with Candido's career at all?
I'm not really familiar with Candido. I am
You know
familiar with
Doink.
Doink Clown.
Any Doink matches that you can think of that jump out at you that you remember him being involved in?
I know.
Or just Doink moments?
I know the famous or infamous the midget, the Dink and Binky, whatever the hell the name is, with Jerry
Clowns.
King Lawler.
Oh,
it was the Royal Family versus the Clowns out of Survivor Series.
I remember that match.
Yep, that was pretty funny. Yeah, Doink. Doink was a prankster. That was his gimmick.
yeah.
So I mean, it was funny. It was creative
Okay.
in that part.
See,
Well-
he played a heel and a face at
He did.
different parts of his career.
All right. Well, here's the $1 million question. If Doink the Clown, let's just say at the peak of his career, would have faced Chris Candido at the peak of his career, who do you like in that? Who's taking the W?
Who's you asking first?
I'm
Me?
asking you.
Candido.
You say Candido.
I feel like Candido.
Can-do is what you're saying.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
I think Candido would be a good pick.
Kyle?
well, looking at the stats and knowing him better than Candido, he has a better win-loss record if you go by percentage. I'm going to have to go with Doink the Clown.
Doink the Clown. So,
The winning
I feel
decision.
like Simon on American Idol. Well, I mean, I remember both. I know both. I watched Candido, and I mean, Doink was in all actuality, Doink was a good wrestler. I'll give him that. But to me, Candido was the much better technical wrestler. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
because he hung with guys like,
Yeah.
he was hanging out with the Lance Storms and those kind of guys, and that's the kind of training people he did with.
Jericho.
Right, yeah, because I mean, hell, I think Candido might even be Canadian. I'm not sure. I think he might be from Canada, but he just—that's the kind of type of wrestler he was, and because of that,
Agreed.
I think it would come down to his expertise in the more technical wrestling.
Yeah.
That he would he would beat Doink, especially at the height of his career.
Yeah.
When he was on the top, he was the
I
highest.
think he was a former tag team champion in
He
WWF too.
was multiple time champions in
And
different
other promotions.
You
ECW.
know, WCW. He won championships in WCW, ECW.
So then for the win, Chris Candido.
Chris Candido
Okay.
is my
There you
choice.
go,
So
Captain
Chris
Bill.
Candido is going to
The
be
first advancement.
moving on to the next round. And
Doink has been eliminated.
may you rest in peace again, Doink. And we're going to move Chris Candido over here. And let's get right on to the next one. Roddy Piper taking on Dr. Death Steve Williams.
That's an interesting matchup.
Go ahead and read those stats.
Well, while I'm
first,
right,
please.
we'll just go ahead and just, you guys,
Okay.
kind of give your
You want to go first?
initial thoughts on that, and then I'll give you some stats. And
Well, everybody loves Roddy Piper.
Of course.
He's world famous, one fan favorite. Played a heel earlier in his career. He was in the main event of the very first WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T
and Mr. Wonderful Paul
and
Orndorff,
Paul Orndorff.
And
Cowboy Bob Wood, I believe was with him too.
He was the
I think that's what he was.
third party.
Yeah, he was the
Or
guy
Jim
up there
Flash
with the cast, on.
My go.
Talk about the
So-
matchup.
Just your thoughts on the wrestlers. you
So
know.
my thing is with Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper to me was underrated. I think he should have been given a world championship. I think and he was great on the mic. He was an amazing heel. He was entertaining as hell whenever he would flip out on somebody. And then the one thing I liked with Roddy Piper was his WrestleMania 12 match with Goldust.
Right.
The parking lot
Okay.
brawl. That was interesting.
So, what are y'all's? I mean, what about Dr. Death Steve Williams?
Dr. Death Steve Williams was an all-around American athlete.
From Oklahoma.
Yeah, he was JR's boy.
Oh yeah.
JR scouted him, brought him in.
Now, I don't know if you all know, but Dr. Death was supposed to win the Brawl for All.
Yeah.
That was JR's pick, but because Brawl for All turned out to be a horrible mistake because they wanted to go real with it instead of actually setting up the match like all the other matches, and
They were hoping Dr. Death was going to
it kind of ruined Dr. Death's career.
Yeah, because
and it
ran
ruined
into
Bart
one.
Gunn's career because
Injured him.
well, not just injured him, but they pretty much punished Bart Gunn for winning by putting him against Butterbean in a real fight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're
So
getting kind of off. We're not talking about Bart's still with us. We're talking about
the Halos and
the R.I.P. invitation, man. We're focusing on the wrestlers at hand.
He's right.
Dr. Death.
He's right.
Versus Roddy Piper. What are your thoughts? If they're locking up now, the bell is rung. They're locking up. Come on, give me
On
something.
this one, I'm going with popularity.
Well, I'll give you your stats before you can make a
All
choice too. I can do this now. Let's Roddy Piper. 1973 to 2011, his career went. 1,829 total matches with 894 wins. That's a 48.9% win percentage.
Right.
789 losses, 43.1% loss percentage. 146 draws. Dr. Death Steve Williams' career ran from 1982 to 2009, where he amassed 2,225 total matches with 1,436 wins, which is a win percentage of 64.5%, 684 losses, 30.7%, and 105 draws. So, yeah, he had, 1829 to 225. So he had over 400 more matches than Piper did.
Right.
Piper with his 894 wins, and Dr. Death was, almost, he was tickling on the door of 1,500.
Right.
Yeah, that's 68.1 win percentage is pretty impressive.
So it is impressive. I am still going to go with Roddy Piper for the sole purpose of the scale he was on, the popularity, you're going to have Dr. Death Steve Williams against Roddy Piper. Roddy's the crazy loudmouth,
Okay.
does anything in a match.
Let me ask you this though: Are you basing the Roddy Piper's popularity in WWF against Dr. Death's popularity in WWF? Because I will say this:
Kind of.
Dr. Death was nowhere near as popular in the WWF as he was in like the NWA and all that, dude. He was a main event caliber guy.
I'm still gonna
back in those days. So I mean, the Dr. Death that you know of from WWE, it doesn't do his
career
justice as to what that dude really was. Like I said, back when just
okay.
he was definitely a force.
Right. Well, my vote.
He was like a Scott Norton kind of from WCW days. You remember from NWO?
Mm-hmm.
That style of wrestling, that he just similar frame, but.
So what do you think, Kyle?
So, but you're going with Piper.
I'm also going to go with the underdog, Roddy Piper, because he has the least percentage. So I'm going to go with Roddy Piper with the win.
Roddy Piper has the what percentage?
He has the lower percentage of
wins. Yeah.
So he's the underdog. I'm going with the underdog.
Though it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a great match, a good fight, and I definitely feel like Piper's definitely gonna let Dr. Death know he's there, but in my opinion, I think Dr. Death would have taken it. At the height of his popularity and the type of wrestler he was, that powerhouse, I think that his power would have overpowered Piper.
And him getting the win.
I will say this, for Piper to win, I think Piper he would have to use some sort of little underhanded
That was
tactic.
Piper.
That was Piper.
Yeah, I mean that's what it would take, I think. But
Of course.
But the majority have spoken.
Yes, we have.
And Roddy Piper is moving
Hot Rod
on.
moves on to face Chris Candido
Yes, sir.
in the next round.
All right, so we are on to the next matchup, which is one Kamala, the Ugandan giant, versus David Von Erick. Now, David Von Erick had a brief career, because he did go and pass at a young age, but from 1977 to 1984, so I mean, really 7 years. But 646 matches with 440 wins, which is a 68.1% win percentage.
It's pretty good.
Only 137 losses, 21.2. I mean, he only lost one. He lost one. One out of every 5 matches he would lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Man, It's 69 draws. Kamala wrestled from 79 to 96, and then again it took some time off, and then again from 2001 to 2010. He had 1,198 matches in total.
He was in the Gimmick Battle Royal, WrestleMania 17.
556 wins for a 46.4% percentage win percentage. 569 losses for a 47.5% loss percentage, and 73 draws. So, Kamala versus David Von Erick. Now, I don't know how much David Von Erick you guys watched. I watched a lot of David Von Erick. That was what was big when I got into wrestling. So that's what I started out watching.
I did not watch a whole lot of the Von Erichs, but I know they're very popular and very successful in their own Texas WCCW organization. They were like what, a band? It was like a band.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. The one person now who kind of most reminds me of the Von Erichs, like the David and Kevin, those guys,
Riddle,
is Matt Riddle.
Yeah.
For one, they wrestle barefoot also, but just same builds. They're just the like Riddle's build. I mean, it was much like them. The way he jumps around now, they jumped around. They were definitely those guys, you know, they weren't that, you know, the type that was just going to get in there and, you know, slug it out with you kind of. I mean, they were moving on the go, jumping, drop kicks, and, you know,
Right.
and off the top rope, and then of course they all utilized the claw. I mean, because that was
Their dad.
that was their dad thing. Yeah, Fritz was there,
Oh.
and they were
It's
all
like the Hart boys using the sharpshooter.
David was he was an awesome wrestler, man. Had he not died at the early age that he did, man, he would. I mean,
Would he have
he's
been
already
top?
a star, dude. But I believe he would have reached like, you know, superstar type level.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Like
definitely.
Rock Austin
Oh,
level.
I mean, because he'd have got in. I would see him getting in with like WCW is probably where
Oh,
he
yeah.
would have went into. You know, because that's where the Flair and the Horsemen and those guys, because I mean they were familiar with them. That's what they knew. You know what I mean?
Independent
So-
days, way back in the day.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Sting, yeah, all that stuff. So, yeah, he would have been good.
All right.
Now Kamala. You know, Kamala was just a big.
Kamala was
just a big-
more of a gimmick,
Yeah, right,
more
right.
of a fan pleaser.
Yeah.
Like a Santino
I mean,
Marella.
he had his manager Kim Shi, and I know he did the whole
Yeah.
stomach thing a lot, but I don't. None of his matches are really memorable.
Yeah.
No offense to the
Yeah,
man.
I mean, you guys could say what you want to hear. I'm just going to right off the bat, even though he's the smaller guy, I'm going to tell you right now, my pick is David Von Erich.
My pick is David Von Erich. too.
My pick is David Von Erich.
I mean, because
It's a landslide.
Landslide.
yeah.
David
He's
Von
the-
Erich
he's the
is
better-
in.
He's the better wrestler.
I mean, no
He's more
offense to
popular.
Kamala. I mean, he's
Hey,
a Hall of Famer.
Better
you
win
know,
record.
did you put Jimmy King on there?
But I did not this time. Not this time.
Well, he's not dead, right?
Right.
But his
that's
career
that's
is.
why. Here we go.
Jump ahead, Joe.
Well, how was that?
You know
jump
what?
ahead?
He's not dead.
Oh,
See that? It rhymed.
Ah, here we go. Here we go.
Oh boy. The predicted match of the tournament.
Brody Lee versus Bruiser Brody.
Alrighty then.
I mean,
Well, we all know Mr. Brody Lee, aka Luke Harper, and his Wyatt family, and the Bludgeon Brothers, and the awesome career he had.
but
And WWE,
man,
first
oh man,
Bruiser
AEW.
Brody.
was Bruiser Brody
A bruiser.
The name.
a
Bruiser.
beast?
Bruiser Brody.
The matches that come to my mind is him and Abdullah the Butcher.
Yeah, man.
Those guys had like a big rivalry. I mean, it was for show, but they ran one of the territories.
Do you remember the Berserker?
Yeah.
In WWF.
Okay, yeah.
He reminded me a lot of Bruiser
Brody.
Brody. You know, that's when I saw him. I just like he's like their version of Bruiser Brody. But what you guys don't know is C-Roy is all secretly, creepily over there trying to open the refrigerator without making any sound.
To get his alcohol.
Yeah. So,
Hey.
anyways,
Okay.
back to the
Stitches get stitches, boys.
So,
let's
yeah,
get down
Bruiser
to
Brody,
the vote.
just, I mean, man, the dude just exemplified intense. When the bell rang, you
match
better
wasn't
be
over.
ready, man, because he was literally going to come at you like you had disrespected his mama.
Oh yeah. He was intense. I watched some of his matches. Dark Side of the Ring showed some. of
Mick
his
Foley
stuff,
has
too.
said that's like the one, if he could, there was that dream match that he could have had with anybody, he
Was
would have
with
wanted
Bruiser
to have
Brody.
it with Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of guys like that. Brody Lee reminded me a lot of a Bruiser Brody. I mean, they were similar size. I actually think Bruiser Brody might have been a little bigger than Brody Lee, though.
I think so.
Just build-wise.
But now, with those two, who do you think would win?
You know, it's, god damn, dude, this is truly probably the toughest one to call in the entire tournament, all 4 brackets. And because they are so similar. That being said, though, which, I mean, and he wasn't all that super technical, you know, technically sound, so to speak. But I think Bruiser Brody was probably the better wrestler than, Brody Lee was probably a better wrestler than Bruiser Brody. But Bruiser Brody was the better, you know, he was the more dominant brawler. So honestly, that one there, oh man, it's so tough. It's so tough.
Kyle, what do you
Yeah,
think?
man. Do you guys have a thought? Let me think about it some more.
I have made my decision,
I've already
and
made
it's
mine.
because they are so similar. I am actually going to base it off of the generation that they came from. The generation that Bruiser Brody was wrestling in was ground and pound,
That
bloody
is
weapons. It
very,
was
very
very gory. So
it was a more
I'm
physical
going
time.
to go with Bruiser Brody just because he had more knowledge of how to win a match.
That is a brilliant point that you brought up, dude. And thinking of that
I'm
now,
going with the generation.
I'm going to go with Bruiser Brody also.
And that.
I was going to go with Brody Lee just because of him being the better wrestler.
Fair enough.
So,
And that could very well be what got him
It's a
the
very
victory.
close matchup.
but
I
it's
just
going
wanted
with
to
the
I'm gonna give it to Kyle on that point though. But for me, I think
Give it to
once
Brody.
he said that, dude, I'm thinking, yeah, that was a more physical time. The wrestling was different at
Yeah.
that time, and
There
he
was more
still
blood,
did what
more
he
gore,
did. You
more
know,
violence.
against yeah.
No matter who it was.
And they bled in every single match back in the day.
But you know
Yeah,
what?
they-
If there was somebody who probably
red.
could have survived in that era of wrestling, it would have been Brody Lee.
No, yeah.
So, moving over, we got one Terry Bam Bam Gordy from the Fabulous Freebirds taking on Ivan Koloff. Terry Gordy wrestled from 77 to 2000. He had 2,052 total matches with 1,076 wins, or a 52.4 percentage rate of wins. 802 losses for a 39.1% loss ratio, and 174 draws. Ivan Koloff wrestled from 1961 to 2013.
Get the fruit
He
out
had
of here.
2,987 total matches, winning
Holy
1,358
donut
of them, 45.5%.
Right?
1,419 losses, 47.5%, and 210 draws. Now, Bam Bam had the better win percentage,
But
You
I
know,
got the experience.
but Koloff had more matches. But does that more experience equate a victory over Bam Bam Gordy in your eyes?
I think so.
You think Koloff takes it?
I do.
Okay.
Unfortunately for me, I'm not real familiar with Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I know a little bit about Ivan Koloff being from the Soviet Union, but basing it on percentage, and once again he's the underdog, I will go with Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
I too am going with Terry Bam Bam Gordy. Bam Bam Gordy was also Bam Bam Gordy was also a big boy. He was like the with the Fabulous Freebirds. He was that big enforcer type guy of the Freebirds.
Right. He was the big dude.
You know, and yeah. So
He advances.
and I think that he would, even though Ivan, again, it would be a tough match, but Ivan, the size differential, I think Bam Bam Gordy takes him.
Alrighty then.
Yep. So moving on, we're going with Yokozuna versus
Oh,
La
boy.
Parka 2.
This is a close match as well.
Now, Yokozuna wrestled from 1985 to 1989. He had 776 total matches with 365 wins, or 47%, 399 losses, 51.4%, and 12 draws. La Parka 2 wrestled from 1992 to 2019. He had 1,184 total matches with 769 wins, or a 64.9% win ratio. 407 losses, which comes to 34.4%, and only 8 draws. So, that's pretty good. 1,184 matches, 769 wins. Now, granted, a lot of those are going to be your luchador matches, and we're talking about Yokozuna.
Super heavyweight versus cruiserweight.
I'm giving
Exactly.
And you're talking about Yokozuna.
former WWF
You
champion.
can't move that bastard there.
Right.
You can't
Exactly.
move him.
I'm giving it to Yoko.
Now,
He almost beat Hulk Hogan.
La Parka is
got
going
my
to
vote.
hit Yokozuna probably
With
3
a chair.
times as many. Going to land 3 times as many shots as Yokozuna will probably, just because he's smaller and faster. But they're just not going to have
I'm
the
sorry.
effect that's needed to take Yoko down and keep him down.
As successful and as popular as La Parker was, you have to go with Yokozuna.
Listen.
From size, from mobility, from
You got to convince me, man. I just had to at least make
La Parka.
somewhat of a valiant argument on
La
La Parka's case.
Yoko-
Everybody
But,
picks
Yokozuna
Yokozuna.
would have
We
killed
don't
him.
even need to discuss it.
That one was the moment that selection was made. I knew who won that matchup. Now here's one that Kyle's been rather interested in. I can't believe we should have saved the green bracket for the last bracket. I'm gonna be honest with you, because there's some good ones on here, man.
Mulligans, yeah.
But we got Bad News Brown versus Blackjack Mulligan. Let me give you some quick stats
Oh
here.
boy.
Bad News Brown wrestled from 1977 to 1998. 1,867 total matches, 873 wins for a 46.8%. 817 losses for 43.8%. 177 draws. Blackjack Mulligan, 1969 to 1989, then he took some time off, and he came back and had one match in 1993. But he had 1,732 total matches, 1,015 wins, or a 58.6% rate, 534 losses, 30.8% loss rate, and 183 draws. These are 2 big, physical,
Big bad boys.
just
now,
get in the ring. There's nothing going to be nothing technical about that match
No.
Right.
at all.
Ground and Pound City, Slobber Knocker. You got Bad News
That's
Brown.
a Pier 6 brawl.
Bad News Brown is his name. Bad News Brown. Yeah, I remember WrestleMania 4 at the Battle Royal when Bret Hart won. Bad News Brown got all peeved off and tried to take off Bret Hart's head. But Blackjack Mulligan is more your generation.
Blackjack Mulligan
And once again,
was one bad sumbitch.
the Blackjacks, they're one of the most famous tag teams.
Yeah.
Very successful.
The history of
And then-
pro wrestling.
And then you can see the generations that come from Blackjack Mulligan with Bray Wyatt
Yeah.
and Bo Dallas. Once again, if I have to pick somebody between Bad News Brown and Blackjack Mulligan, once again, their generations are very, very close.
Right.
But Blackjack Mulligan, once again, is in that same generation as Bruiser Brody, where things are a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more violent. Blackjack Mulligan is going to get the W.
Well, I mean, yeah, Blackjack Mulligan had
You
already
made a
been.
valiant point, Kyle.
Blackjack Mulligan had already been in the business for 8 years when Bad News Brown had his first match.
He makes a valiant point. I'm going with Blackjack.
I'm going with Blackjack too.
Blackjack, baby.
Blackjack
Landslide.
Bad News Brown.
Yeah, we've had a couple. We've had David Von Erich, Yokozuna, and Blackjack Mulligan have all been unanimous. Now, this
I will have
last
to.
one.
I will also have to make another point. Bad News Brown did not get the proper push that he should have had in the WWE. Once again, thanks Vince for screwing that up.
Yeah. All right. So the final match in the
Well,
in the first round here is one. See, as we go through, we've already got the stats, so we won't have to go through the stats the second time. We're just going to vote. So this next match here is going to be one Gorilla Monsoon versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Once again.
Now, Gorilla Monsoon, his career ran from 1958 to 1983. So, I mean, 58, the late 50s, 60s, 70s.
He's still stuck around.
1,033 total matches, 524 wins for a 50.7% win ratio, 359 losses, 34.8%, and 150 draws. The Ultimate Warrior's career ran from 1985 to 1998, and then he had one little spot in WCW in 2008 that is mine. We might as well not even mention. 899 total matches, 763 wins. That's a win percentage of 84.9.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
won this match.
117 losses, which is only 13%, and only 19 draws.
And a lot of that was probably his tag team days with Sting.
So, Ultimate Warrior also has the record. He has the highest win percentage of any wrestler who's wrestled a minimum of 100 matches in the WWE. His WWE career, he only had 2 losses. 2 losses in his entire
Well, guess what?
WWE career.
Guess what? Once again, the generation is in my vote. The legendary, the vice president at one time of WWE, one of the greatest announcers in my opinion, and I think my opinion is the better wrestler between Ultimate Warrior and Gorilla Monsoon. I will chalk up a victory for Gorilla Monsoon and give Ultimate Warrior a 3rd loss in his career.
Okay.
I'm
I'm going to let you go last.
okay.
Simply because I disagree.
You just,
I know.
Now, you again,
what a shock.
valid points you made. And I looked up and watched some Gorilla Monsoon matches. Gorilla Monsoon, well, for one, I understand why he got the name Gorilla, because
He was a big dude.
he was a
humongous.
big, powerful guy, but there was nothing agile and speedy about his matches.
No, he moved
He was
slow.
very much, he was Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers,
Methodical.
just coming at, big clubbing, shots on people and all. There wasn't a lot of technicality, man, with him. It was, because again, in that time, that era, it was just a little more physical, but he was, so yeah, but Ultimate Warrior did have the size and the strength and the power
To lift up
to match that
size and
that
strength.
that just
Okay.
that aggressive.
You did pick up Hulk Hogan
you know what I'm
at
saying?
WrestleMania 6.
Just the
Drop
physical
him.
beat down that part. That he could
Ran
match.
up on the ropes.
He could go in there and just slug it out, brawl. Match strength for strength, power for power with Monsoon. But the Ultimate Warrior had that quickness, that agility, dude.
He did.
He would be running and bouncing all around the ring.
He would do circles around Monsoon.
Exactly. And he's got the power and the speed. And I think it would be too much. He would wear Monsoon down.
Yeah.
And then obviously he's
So you're going for
So my choice is Ultimate Warrior defeats Gorilla Monsoon. So now it's up to you to decide. Is it going to be Gorilla Monsoon or the Ultimate Warrior moving on to the next round to face Blackjack Mulligan?
Giuseppe's decision
the
is
Ultimate Warrior.
Okay, well, we
What-
both gave valid reasons as to why we made our
What was your
decision.
decision?
What is
Why?
yours?
The Ultimate Warrior was he was like, back in that generation, I looked at him like how Brock Lesnar's looked at now in wrestling, like an unstoppable force, you know, a beast, you know, and he, I mean, like you said, he's only lost twice in WWE. Like, that's pretty damn impressive that they had that for him.
Right.
And, you know, him being the first man to have the Intercontinental title and the WWF Championship at the same time, that's only been done quite a few times. Not many times.
Okay.
So, that's why I want to pick the Ultimate Warrior. So,
Okay.
suck on that, cat.
All right. No, I also chose the Ultimate Warrior.
I know.
So,
you were just curious
all right.
what my thoughts
So there we go. So we the first round is done. So we're moving on to the next round, the second round. And like I said, we've already given the stats on these guys.
Yeah,
we
we'll
already
just-
know them. We just need to know who you think's going to win. So let's dive in. The first matchup in the next round is one Roddy Piper versus Chris Candido.
Roddy Piper all the way.
Once again, popularity, Roddy Piper.
This time around, I think Roddy Piper takes it.
Oh boy.
Because Chris Candido is, you know, he's a smaller guy.
Going
He's
to the
not the big
semifinals.
powerhouse guy like Dr. Death.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a more physically, they match up better, and it's the tactics, you know, it would come down. I think Piper takes that victory.
Okay.
That's just my my opinion.
This next
All
matchup,
right.
this is tough too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's you know what? We're going over here. Terry
Gordy
Gordy versus Yokozuna. Terry Bam Bam Gordy versus Yokozuna.
It's going to be Yokozuna.
I think for me, it's going to be because Terry Gordy is a big boy, and he's got a little. It's a lot. He ain't no La Parka. It's not super heavyweight against cruiserweight. Now it's super heavyweight versus a heavyweight.
I'm going to go with Yokozuna.
And Terry Gordy is the more skilled wrestler, in my opinion. Can actually wrestle, and I think Terry Gordy can beat Yokozuna.
I think Terry Gordy would give Yokozuna a great run, but the weight is still just a little bit too much. I'm going with Yokozuna.
Fair enough.
And I'm going with Yokozuna mainly because he's been to the top.
Yeah, but I also know who has beaten Yokozuna, and that's why I went with Terry Gordy.
But Yokozuna.
Because I do know, I know. I mean, Lex Luger beat Yokozuna, and I know Terry Gordy can beat Lex Luger. So, but the majority has spoken, and Yokozuna is moving on. Oh, now we're back to the two tough ones: David Von Erich versus Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody.
I actually will go with David Von Erich, just because of the history with the Von Erich family. I'm going with the Von Erich.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going.
it's
Bruiser Brody. It's so close, so close. I gotta go with David Von Erich.
I'm going with the brawler in this one. Bruiser Brody.
What's the decision, Bill? What is your takedown on this?
my gut tells me it's Bruiser Brody.
Oh.
Yep. The
Where's Bruiser Brody from? I know Von Erich's from Texas. They both from Texas?
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody.
Texas boys?
Yeah, but he also wrestled a lot in Puerto
Man,
Rico.
I can't believe Von Erich didn't make it to the finals.
Bruiser Brody. Just too
I was pulling for you,
too
Von
much
Erich.
Look
just
at that final
that
match.
big powerful
Semifinal.
big powerful guy, I think he could I chose Bruiser Brody because I think he could weather the storm that Von Erich would put upon him,
I
and
think
then
so.
still be able
I actually
to.
think so too, but I
It
was
would just
pulling
take
for
a
him.
couple of big, because he
Maybe
is
get
a bigger, stronger guy.
Maybe he goes for the most devastating move in sports center.
Yeah.
Rolls them up and gets 1, 2, 3.
So now we got the Ultimate Warrior versus Blackjack Mulligan.
Oh, that's easy. Blackjack Mulligan.
I go with Blackjack Mulligan.
I was going to go with Warrior, but majority.
I don't know about that.
So you saying Blackjack Mulligan?
This is his third loss. Blackjack Mulligan beats Ultimate Warrior, hands
Yeah.
down.
And you said Warrior. Well, I'm going with Blackjack. So, now here we have the semifinals.
So it's Blackjack versus who now?
Yokozuna.
So we got, let's just start right in there then. Blackjack Mulligan versus Yokozuna. Blackjack Mulligan for me, once again, no sense to even discuss it further for me.
It's
It's
number
Blackjack
2.
Mulligan.
Blackjack Mulligan takes off, beats Yokozuna.
What do
I'll
you
go
think?
with Blackjack
Physicality.
this time.
Are you just saying that because we said that?
No,
Or do you
no,
think
no, no,
Blackjack beats Yokozuna?
I'm gonna go with Blackjack.
Physicality, stamina, heart, Blackjack Mulligan.
So Blackjack Mulligan is the first one to make the final here in the green bracket. And the next
Finalist.
Roddy
semifinal
Piper
match.
and Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody and Rowdy
This
Piper.
This time, I can't go with popularity. I have to go with facts. I have to go with violence. I have to go with better ring skills. I'm going with Bruiser Brody to beat Hot Rod.
I am going with popularity in this one.
You think Roddy Piper beats Bruiser Brody?
I do.
All right.
Cheating, but
Yeah.
knowing those two, it would be legal in that type of match. So I'm gonna go with Roddy Piper pulling out the tricks, and he's able to do it.
Okay,
I'm gonna go with Roddy Piper, Hot
That's-
Rod.
fair enough. I think Bruiser Brody wins. Honestly, because Bruiser Brody, again, like you said, that time, where he pulled it, you think Bruiser Brody's not going to go into that match knowing? And Bruiser Brody is the type of guy, he's capable of pulling out some dirty tricks, I think, himself.
And still be a face.
So, it'll be a fight, but I'm going with Bruiser Brody. And that means that Bruiser Brody is moving to the final match.
Take on Blackjack Mulligan.
Now,
Oh, let's break it down a little bit. Break it down.
let's slow it down.
Who's
for
going
this
to be the
final
winner
match.
of the first in the green bracket?
So, first of all, just what's initially not giving a winner. What's your take on just the matchup itself?
Blackjack Mulligan
Oh, this should be like a... I'm sorry, you go.
versus Bruiser Brody. Well, yeah, it can't just be a one-on-one match. Just regular. Those two, it's gonna have to be. I would say, make it a.
You know what? Let's just, for shits and giggles, let's make that one there. Let's make that just a street fight.
I was gonna say a street fight, maybe no holds barred.
Yeah, whatever, dude. That's same thing.
Last man standing.
No DQ.
No
Let's
DQ.
just no DQ.
I'm gonna give it to Bruiser Brody. Reason being is what?
We said
First thing I said was, don't give us your answer, just give us your take on that matchup.
I messed up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so before I give my answer, no, I'm the match itself. It would start out. I think there'd be a lot of ground pounding. I think there'd be a lot of weapons involved. There'd be a lot of blood involved, and I don't know, man. I can see it.
You can see it.
Kyle?
What's happening? Well, whether it's a no DQ match or not, I mean, wrestlers have gotten away before by knocking out the referee in some capacity and then just going all over the arena. I'm telling you right now, nothing is going to keep these two from tearing each other limb from limb. There's going to be a lot of blood loss. You better get the blood busts out there because there's going to be
Buckets.
a lot of blood everywhere in that arena. But I have my pick, and I'll tell you why after Bill gives his breakdown.
It is, I agree. It's going to be a control riot, dude. It's going to be two guys literally trying to kill one another,
It
man.
really will be.
I mean, there's going to be everything. There's going to be chairs. There's going to be
Cheese graters.
oh my God! There's going to be cowbells. There's going to be
Hell
ropes.
yeah.
There's going to be leather straps. I
It's
guarantee
gonna
it.
be everything.
Oh yeah. I mean, they may grab someone from the crowd and
They may
use
hit
them
somebody with
as
another
a weapon.
person.
Yes, they're going
Oh,
to use
please.
another human as a weapon, possibly. it's just going to be.
It could be like Vince McMahon
The
who
ref-
gives a leg.
The ref should get hazard pay. The ref should get hazard pay for this match. It's just going to be.
That's good. Do
It's
they
going
get hazard
to be,
pay in heaven?
It's going to be a
Absolutely.
brawl. It's going to be a brawl.
Bill,
But
they get hazard pay in heaven?
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe they get a wing upgrade.
I don't know, man. The winner gets new angel
Maybe
wings,
they get a
bro.
fancier halo. I don't know. I don't
Right.
know. But that being said, I think I know who my pick would be though to win.
Well, we already know Joey's pick.
Bruiser Brody.
Now, I will say this. Because the matchup is so even, and both wrestlers are so dirty, I'm actually going to go with what I see on the bracket to determine who wins this match. Bruiser Brody had a tough match with Mr. Brody Lee and a tough match with David Von Erich. But look at who Blackjack Mulligan went through. He went through Bad News Brown. He went through Yokozuna. And he went through Ultimate Warrior. When he gets to the finals, he's going to be beat up. He's going to be less than 100%. I am going with Bruiser Brody just because of the results of this bracket. That's the way I'm breaking that
Flip
down.
the freaking script. I like it.
Bruiser Brody wins because of endurance and the matchups that happened through the bracket. That's the only way I can figure a winner.
And
Okay,
Bill.
okay. But, I mean, to use your same theory, I mean, Bruiser Brody's going to go through Brody Lee. He's got to go through David Von Erich.
And Piper.
And then he's got to go through Roddy Piper.
So who do you
Those
think?
three guys
who do
are
you
not
think?
walks in the park either. And
Who do you think?
Roddy Piper is just as, he can fight just as dirty as they come.
Oh, right.
So who knows what kind of shit
Sure, there's
he
a few
did,
nut shots in there.
to Bruiser Brody in that matchup after going through Von Erich and then Brody Lee.
So who do you think?
In my opinion,
Yes.
who I
Who
think
gets
wins
this?
that match, Blackjack Mulligan.
Woo!
But
Majority rules.
Majority rules. And Brody
So
Lee
the winner
is the
of
winner
the green bracket
of the green
is
bracket.
one Bruiser Brody.
Wow. I thought you'd go for Bruiser Brody all the way just because you predicted him and Mr. Brody Lee.
Well,
You wanted Bruiser Brody to win the whole thing, I know.
That was before he ran into one Blackjack Mulligan in the finals.
I'm surprised you went with Blackjack Mulligan. But I'm not surprised because they were just that deadly to each other, and they probably not.
Honestly,
They probably wrestled each other
Blackjack
110
Mulligan,
times.
Blackjack Mulligan had size on Bruiser Brody, and
Came out.
he
Small
was one.
rules.
And I have heard, I've heard stories about Blackjack, and his, real life brawls and backstage stuff with guys, and he was one of those guys who. He's, when they talk about those lists of like legit badasses, when they talk about Harley races and those guys that were serious, bad dudes you didn't want to cross, Blackjack Mulligan was one of those guys,
Nope.
So
He was like,
Well, there
But-
you have it. The breakdown.
there it is.
Of
Yep,
the
Bruiser
green
Brody
bracket.
is the
Winner is
green
Brody
bracket
Lee.
champion.
Not Brody Lee.
Bruiser
Bruiser Brody, sorry. There's Brody in there. I just popped it out.
So, there you have it, folks. Bruiser Brody. Now, next week, we'll move on to,
Which bracket we go with?
you know
I
what?
say blue.
You say blue. I'm going to say teal. We'll call
Oh,
it
I was going with teal. We're doing teal.
We're going to do the teal.
Sure.
one.
Majority rules.
But
Doyle rules.
you'll have to watch the other show to see who is in the teal bracket. Or wait for the next show when we announce
And
it.
before we sign off, you better hit that damn subscribe button.
Do it, please.
Or K Swine gonna come for
I'm
you.
going to come looking for you because I need those subs. I'm hungry.
I'm gonna take him off
Yeah.
his leash and let him go to
He's
town.
gonna bring Bruiser Brody with him.
That's right.
So,
My-
all right,
my-
guys. Well, there you have it. We have part 2 of the R.I.P. Invitational,
AKA
the Headlocks and Halos Championship Tournament. And the green bracket is done, and one Bruiser Brody is the champion. So
we will see you next time.
Yep.
Right here on
3,
2,
1.
Screw.
Headlocks and Halos.
Woo!